Are you ready? Let's go.
Welcome. You are now tuned into another amazing edition of Sanya on Air. And who am I? I'm your lovely host, Sanya Hudson Payne, where I connect the big OGs to the little OGs. Now, miss a show? You definitely, did I say definitely? Well, you definitely miss a lot. Catch all Sanya on Air shows on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, and YouTube. And do me a favor, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Now, today's guest, I have another great guest for you, actress Samantha Rivers Cole. Now, you can currently catch her on NBC's Lincoln Rhyme, and there are some other amazing shows that she's been on that I've had the fortunate pleasure of watching her grace your television screens. She's appeared on HBO's The Deuce and the final episode of Power on Stars. How many of you saw the last episode? Oh my gosh, it was amazing. But 50 Cent decided not to let her go. You can also see her on the new Curtis 50 Cent Jackson series For Life on ABC's. We're already 3 episodes in, and I've watched episodes 1, 2, and 3, and damn it, I'll be tuned in every single week. Now, guess what? I'm excited about today's show. Not only excited about Samantha joining us for a very engaging conversation, but I'm officially launching a very new Sanya on Air segment called Celebrity Chronicles, where people send me their letters about their celebrity encounters. And today's celebrity encounter is about Black Ink Crew New York. So I'm going to read a letter that a viewer and a listener of Sanya on Air sent me about her celebrity chronicle and Black Ink Crew New York. It's kind of funny. We'll see. Hopefully I don't get sued because right now I'm already in Instagram jail. I'll be back on March 3rd. So make sure that you miss me. Now, let's do some trending celebrity news before Samantha joins us, because just like Cardi B says, I got answers. Okay, and I need questions. Now, let's talk about Snoop Doggy Dogg. I know you've seen him in the news lately, and he's the reason why I am in Instagram jail. So shout out to Snoop Dogg. Now, recently, Gayle King, who is Oprah Winfrey's best friend, Gayle King interviewed WNBA legend Lisa Leslie on the CBS Morning News Show. How many of you caught that interview? It sparked so many issues, and like I said, an issue for me, and I don't even goddamn know them, and I'm in Instagram jail. But anyway, so during the interview, Gayle King asked Lisa Leslie some questions that people felt were just wrong. Lisa Leslie was asked a question about Kobe Bryant's past rape allegations. A lot of people felt, since the untimely and unfortunate death of Kobe Bryant, that those type of questions about his past and his legal issues, that should have been off guard, off limits, no questions asked. If you didn't ask him when he was living, you shouldn't be talking about those issues in his death. So everyone internationally and nationally, they were very upset about the line of questioning. Snoop Dogg was very upset too. And if you didn't see his Instagram post, he went off on Gayle King, even to the point where going so far as to call her a nappy-headed hoe. Now, if you don't know anything about a black woman, don't talk about her hair. Please do not talk about her hair and also her sexual identity. So because of that, people were saying that Snoop Dogg went very, very far. So he had another interview apologizing on Jada Pinkett's Red Table Talk. And like I said, he apologized for, not for what he said, but for how he said it. And I can definitely agree with that. But you know what? I do have some questions. I need some questions. My first question is, why is everyone surprised about Snoop's comments? Now, his career was built off of misogynistic lyrics. Remember, bitches ain't shit but hoes and tricks? Now, although over the years, I must give him credit, he has grown tremendously. And although we may not hear the lyrics that we want to hear, because I do feel that a lot of his lyrics are still very male aggressive, male dominant lyrics, I do feel that there has been some growth. And although people aren't where you want them to be, what I always say is they're no longer where they were. So let's just give Snoop some credit. But another question that I have, because I definitely need some questions, is how How can you dictate how people respond when they're hurt? I know sometimes when people may hurt my feelings, I may not respond in a way that you feel that I should have responded, but you can't dictate how people reply or respond when they get hurt. So like I said, even though Snoop Dogg did apologize for how he said it, he did not apologize for what he said. So the last question that I need questions to is, do you forgive Snoop? I do. I'm just a kind of, forgiving person. And it wasn't, really directed towards me, even though I would like to say I wouldn't like to say I'm a feminist, but I do believe in female power and I do support Gayle King. And I don't believe that it is right for any man to disrespect a woman with those type of words. And calling her a nappy-headed hoe, I do think that that was a bit much. But I do forgive Snoop. And I do believe, like I said, that he is making great strides. And although he's not where we or you want him to be, he's no longer where he once was. Now, speaking of forgiving, Nicki Minaj publicly forgives and apologizes on behalf of her husband, Kenneth Petty. Did you hear about this story? So if you don't know, for all my non-Caribbean people out there tuning in, Nicki Minaj is from the amazing island of Trinidad. And if you don't know, what's going on right now in Trinidad is the amazing carnival. You have to experience carnival one time in your life. You don't have to just go to Trinidad. There are so many different islands in the Caribbean that participate in carnival. Also here in New York City, where I'm from, here in Brooklyn, we do it on Eastern Parkway. I don't go to that anymore. To be honest, I don't go. It got a little bit dangerous. You need to wear armor out there to protect yourself. But, it is an amazing experience. But I will say, I will return if someone puts me on their float. That was a shameless plug for those of you who are doing carnival in Brooklyn, New York, every single Labor Day. If you have a float, your girl wants to be on the float. But I digress. Back to Nicki Minaj and her apology. So what happened was, during carnival on one day, Nicki Minaj was dancing. She was winding it up. Pond the river, wind it up. So anyway, another singer, an R&B singer from Trinidad, decided, just true to the culture, he wanted to get behind Nicki Minaj so she could wind that ass on him. Kenny was not here for the shenanigans at all. Why did I just go into? Why did I just go into some sort of dialect? I don't know. But anyway, so the R&B singer gets behind Nicki Minaj as she's winding it up. And he begins to thrust his pelvis. Why am I doing the accent again? Thrust his pelvis into her backside. Kenneth was not here for it. So he looks at Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj looks at him with these loving, adorable eyes, and she reaches out for her husband. And he swats her hand away. So then she goes back on Instagram and publicly apologizes for her husband who doesn't understand the culture at all. Now, once again, I need answers. Caribbean or not, would you allow your partner to wind it up at a West Indian party? I'm going to say my answer in Spanish. Nope. I would not allow it. Now, single Sanya, oh yes, I'm here for the party and all of the shenanigans. But I will say I don't want to be at a party watching my husband. Because like I said, when you're a husband, that's a whole different thing. If you're dating someone and you're still single, or even if you're engaged, I still think you're single. I don't think you're committed to anyone unless you are married. That's just my personal opinion. But I don't want to see that. And we all know no man wants to see his girlfriend, wife, even mistress at a party leaning up against the wall with a man just gyrating and thrusting his pelvic area into her backside. Nobody wants to see that. I know maybe I'm just not mature enough to handle that, even though I know that he's coming home to me. But let me tell you something, as a former participant of the Caribbean parties, okay? All right. #1 bestseller here. I have never left a party with an unsatisfied customer. Let me just tell you that. So I know what goes down, not only in the DM, but what goes down at the Caribbean parties, and I am not here for it. So I kind of understand what happens, but this is what happens with social media. You put everything on social media, and then you want to issue a public apology once people give you their opinion. Stop putting everything on social media. It is not for everyone to see, especially at these Caribbean parties. This is why the lights are dim low. Okay, it's very, very phasey and hazy up in there with the ganja, because it is a private party for those who are partying, not for the entire world to see. So stop putting everything on Front Street. Now, I do have some questions. Like I said, I need questions. Here is my first question. Do you think this marriage will last? I already have my opinion, and I'll say it in Spanish again. Nope. Okay, do you think she's pregnant? Because recently, once again, she posted a video on Instagram where she's lying down and her husband, Kenneth Petty, is rubbing her stomach. Now, we know for the past couple of years, Nicki Minaj said that she wants to have a baby very, very badly, but she would not have a child unless she was married. Well, the marriage part, she's completed that. So maybe she's trying to get pregnant. She slowed down on a lot of the music, a lot of the touring. By the way, Nikki, please announce the tour date, because I'll be in the building with my daughter. Imagine that shit. Mother and daughter in the front row at a Nicki Minaj concert, but I'm going to be here for it. So once again, since we're talking about the Pettys, I have a petty question. And please hit me up. Please hit me up. You can Instagram me once I get out of Instagram jail, or you can email me, sanyaonair@gmail.com. Which one would you get rid of? The choices are Nicki Minaj, Cardi B, Meg Thee Stallion, Doja Cat, Cash Doll, or City Girls. Let me know what your answer is. I'm going to give you my answer, because some of you ask so shy, like, I don't want to give my opinion because people may not like my opinion. Don't nobody give a damn. Your opinion is your opinion. Stand firm in it. So this is what my opinion is. Who I would get rid of? Doja Cat. Because I don't even know who the fuck she is. I really don't. I don't even know who she is. And the only reason how I found out who she is was, once again, I went to Instagram. Instagram has become everything. You don't even need to look at ABC News anymore, you know, Nightlife, all those extra things. Just tune into Instagram. So there was a recent video that Doja Cat, I don't even know if I'm pronouncing her name correctly. Doja Cat posted a video on Instagram, and she kept wiping her nose and sniffling. Now, if you are from around the way, you can't talk to anybody who's wiping their nose and sniffling, because we think that they had the Saturday night special, a little, you know, cocochina. No, that's what I call it. I don't know. So this is what the public was saying, you know, listen, Doja, are you on some sort of substance? Are you sniffing cocaine? So she wasn't even recognized for her music. She was being recognized on social media for possibly having a drug problem. Now you know that there have been so many rappers, even R&B singers. This shit has changed. Remember R&B singers back in the day? No problem from that at all. Now they ODing and shit. Now they want to live the rap life. I don't know what's going on. So because Doja was, like I said, sniffing and, you know, just scratching her nose and rubbing her nose, they thought that she had a drug problem. That's a shame when that kind of assumption overshadows the talent and the music. But this is the space that we're in, where the talent doesn't even resonate more than what the public and behavioral scrutiny is. So I'm really suggesting that a lot of these artists do better. Speaking about doing better, let's talk about Foxy Brown. I love me some Foxy Brown, and I can't wait until she gets back on the scene. But Foxy Brown is back on the scene now because she is thinking of suing someone. Now, Foxy, Miss Il Nana, was scheduled to release her fourth studio album on May 6, 2003. I don't know what the fuck happened, because it's already 2020, but we talking about releasing a fourth album back in 2003. Okay, with Bad Boy Records and Def Jam. But guess what? That never happened because she got into a beef with Diddy. Who doesn't get into a beef with Diddy? By the way, we're supposed to have one of the castmates from Making the Band back in the day. Remember that show when they had to make their way to juniors? Well, Dylon is going to be on the show telling us how he feels about this whole new Making the Band remix. But I digress. Back to Foxy Brown. So anyway, When the song was supposed to be released in 2003, Il Nana 2 appeared on iTunes, and this Brooklyn legendary rapper was very, very unhappy. Let me repeat that again because that was even unclear for me. So, Il Nana 2 was supposed to be released in 2003. It never was because of some dispute that she got into with Diddy. Fast forward to 2020, all of a sudden, Il Nana 2, the album that was never released in 2003, appears on streaming platforms. So I would be upset too. Like, I never authorized this. Who did this? So this is what Foxy Brown said. By the way, before I say what she said, is she still deaf? And I'm not even asking that to be like malicious or facetious. Like, I just want to know if she's deaf, because I think that would be so dope for a deaf rapper to come out. You know what? My mind just went somewhere else in a disrespectful way. So I'm not even going to go there because I might get sued again, because this is a very just like litigious situation for everyone involved. So I'm just going to say what she said. Foxy Brown said, she said, whoever the fuck uploaded my old unreleased Fever album to iTunes is getting the fuck sued. Now, she said that real matter-of-factly, but within, I would say, 1 hour, that post was deleted very, very quickly, because you can't sue someone and then take to social media with all of this negative comments, because guess what, Foxy? They're going to use it in the court of law, especially when you go up against a powerhouse like Diddy. You better shut the fuck up. All right. Go through whatever court case you want to go through. I don't know if you're suing for some sort of money, if it even earned money, because I didn't even know that this new album was released on iTunes. So what exactly are you suing for again? Now that I'm talking about it, this makes absolutely no sense for me, but I need questions. So I asked the first question again, is she still deaf? And like I said, I'm not even trying to be funny. Like, I really want to know, because, you know, back in the 90s, she was one of my favorite female rappers. Did not surpass, in my opinion, to Little Kim. But, you know, that's just my opinion. But the next question that I have is, would you support new music if she were to release any new music? Would I support it? I would definitely give it a try. What I don't like about this new culture is we have so many iconic, legendary individuals across all type of entertainment genres. And I find that once you get into that legendary, iconic status, let's say if you've been in the business for 20 or 30 years, you know, the general public feels as if you're old, you're dried out, you have nothing to add to the current mainstream of things, and they kind of cancel you out. So I don't know if the world at large would be very receptive to Foxy Brown coming out with new music, but I would definitely be here for it today. Speaking about how you cancel out people, I don't know if you know about legendary comedian Earthquake. I wasn't even supposed to talk about this, but it just kind of makes sense. So he recently, once again, posted a goddamn IG video like everyone does, and he was walking through the airport. You got too much time walking through the airport just doing Instagram videos? I spend my time at airports. I want to find the perfect food court. I don't know, so I can just sit down, maybe the nice bar, you know, relax myself. Just get me a Sprite, because I do buy my nips outside. I bring it into the airport on the plane. Do you do that? You know you can do that, right? You could buy nips for the plane because it's under a certain type of liquid size. So you don't have to buy those $10 drinks when you get on your nice flight. Girl, my daughter is so embarrassed. I tell the stewardess, I'm like, the flight attendant. That's old school. You call them stewardess. I would just tell the flight attendant, listen, give me a Coke or give me a Sprite. I will take out my nip. And my daughter's like, can you put that shit away? But everybody's looking at me like, I wish I would have thought of the same thing. But anyway, so Earthquake is very, very upset. He's a little sad because he's saying that he's been in this industry for so long, but you people aren't giving him the credit, the acknowledgement, the accolades that he deserves. I think that he's a dope comedian. But, you know, you get a little bit of gray hair, and then you have these 20-something-year-olds, and they're like, listen, you can't diddy bop like us. You know, you can't Millie Rock like us. So there's no need for you. I don't even know. My phone is ringing. I don't know who this is, but we're going to get back to them later. But back to Foxy Brown. Would you support new music from her? For me, it's a yes. Now, Real Housewives of Atlanta star Kenya Moore drops her married name from social media. I don't even know what her married name was. So why is that an issue? We were always calling her Kenya Moore. She's on the Real Housewives of Atlanta. They never even added her married name. They kept her single name. So I don't even know what this is about. But you know, once again, when it happens on Instagram, God damn it, it changes the motherfucking world. So anyway, Kenya Moore has been separated from her husband, Mark Daly. Oh, that was her last name, then Daly. Okay. From her husband, Mark Daly, since October 2019, citing communication issues. I'm not even surprised that this marriage just ended so quickly. The only thing that I had to do was put a load of laundry in the washing machine, and then the marriage was in shambles. That's how quick this was over. So anyway, we've been tuned in to the Real Housewives of Atlanta, where she has now returned after 2 seasons, because remember, she was fired. She didn't even want to put her marriage on the show because she knew she was just getting married because she didn't want to have an illegitimate child. Yeah, I said it. Some women do feel that way. They feel nothing for the man. They just don't want society to look at them like they're, hoes. Not to say that you are if you have a child out of wedlock. Me, and I know damn well I'm not a hoe. But some women do feel as if they aren't married, and if they do have a child, what do they call the child? A bastard? That's so old school, 2020. Live your life. But we saw the marriage, the relationship, not unfolding, but being true to where it already is, dead. We've seen that. We've seen on the show how he doesn't listen to her, how he kind of doesn't respect her at all. We've seen this take shape and form on social media and on the show. And it is very tense and extremely uncomfortable. But during the last episode, the cameraman asks Kenya Moore's husband, Mark Daly, if he really enjoys being married. And he responded, nope, I hate it. Everybody knows I hate it. Ended. Now, I need questions. If this was happening in your relationship, would you stay? Now, I'm all for making marriages work. But when you know that there is nothing that you can do, maybe you've gone to therapy, once you've exhausted certain things and certain resources, don't stay in the marriage just to say that you're married. That's another thing that a lot of women unfortunately do. And I'm speaking from a woman. I'm not talking about the men. I'm speaking from a woman's perspective. Some women will stay in a relationship just to scream from the mountaintops, damn it, I got a man. Nobody's jealous of you, honey. Nobody's jealous that you got a man if your man is consistently disrespecting you, doing things outside of the marriage. We don't see the union. We don't see the love. We don't see the respect between you two. So please don't stay in a marriage or any relationship if it isn't working. Another question that I have, because I need questions. Who's surprised this marriage is ending? Like I said, I am not surprised at all. Let me tell you the recipe for a marriage that will there are always exceptions to the rule, but this is a recipe for a marriage that will more than likely end. Okay. So a woman meets a man. They're smiling, that honeymoon phase. They're smiling, they're like on the phone. Why don't you hang up? No, you hang up. No, honey, no, you hang up. You know how that shit go in the beginning of a relationship. Then you decide to get engaged and married in, let's say, 2 to 4 months. Recipe for disaster, okay? There will always be exceptions to the rule, but like I told you, when you just meet someone so quickly, you gotta take your time to get to know them. Because if I meet someone, let's say at the age of 40 to 50, they have 40 to 50-year-old trauma that I have to unpack and learn how to introduce and deal with in my life. But there's something that I want to introduce to my life and yours. Just something that is someone who is so dope, someone who is so awesome, someone who is adding something to your television screens and giving life and realness to the characters that you are watching. I have none other than actress Samantha Rivers Cole. Samantha, how are you?
Hey, Sanya. Thanks so much for having me on the show.
Oh, thank you. Just quick question. Do friends call you Sam? Or because I was about to call you Sam. Do they call you Sam?
Yeah, sure. People call me Sam, Sammy, Samantha, whatever, Sam Meister.
Oh, wow.
Sam's fine.
So tell me, I know this is a lovely Saturday. You're in New York, correct?
I'm sorry. It was a little hard to hear you. What did you say?
I said today's a lovely day here in New York City. Are you still in New York?
Yes, I am. I live in Queens.
Oh, okay. So how are you going to be spending the day today as a working actress? What are you going to be doing?
Well, I have an appointment in the city for an audition a little bit later, and then after that, I hope to just like come home and relax. It's the weekend.
I love it. So you're going for an audition today? Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Are you nervous?
I am. I'm a little excited too. It's like kind of like being nervous and excited are the same thing.
Yeah.
Kind of like your response in your body is like the same. So it's like nervous excitement.
So true. Now, I'm not an actress, although, I do act sometimes in the bedroom, but that's another story. But as an actress, when you are nervous before some sort of big audition, how do you deal with those that nervous energy? How do you deal with it?
Oh my gosh, that's a great question. Well, I try to just, you got to feel the fear and do it anyway. And, there's no way around it. It's going to be scary. You're going to be nervous. You just got to do it anyway.
So just push
through. You can't
through.
just hide. You got to do it.
Just push through and do it anyway. I was having a very long conversation with about 10 to 20 celebrity publicists from last night up until today. And it was just about how do you ask a very simple question? And all of us kind of agreed, just do it. So I'm glad that you gave that advice to someone who is tuning in, who may be nervous about going on their first audition or maybe even their 50th audition. Don't be nervous, or even if you are, just push through and just do it. So thank you for that. Now, Samantha, I saw you on the final episode of Power on Stars. You did great.
Oh my gosh.
You did great. I love it. Now, refresh our memories, because I'm not sure if you were a child protective services counselor. Was that your character on the last episode?
Yes, I was called a child advocate. So it's like I'm kind of like an attorney, but not exactly. So you're looking out for the welfare of, so kind of like that.
Mm-hmm. Well, that was a huge episode to be on because, Power it was one of the biggest shows, and so many people were tuned in to the final episode. So what was the public's response to you once they saw you on the final episode of Power?
Oh my gosh, Sanya, I'm sorry. I'm having a little hard time understanding. Like, I can't really hear very well. I don't know if it's because we're on the air, but would you mind repeating that, because it's kind of hard to hear you?
Really? Okay, so I said a lot of people were tuned into the final episode of Power. You heard that, right?
Yes, it was a huge deal.
So considering so many people were tuned into the final episode and they saw you on the final episode, what was the public's response? And also, what were your friends' responses to seeing you on that episode?
What was the total response?
Yes. What were your friends' response, and what was the public's response? Samantha?
I don't know. I think like, as far as I know, I was just thrilled to be a part of the show, and my friends were all excited that I was on it, and I don't know, I was just really grateful to be on the show. It's a big deal to be on the final episode, the series finale. So. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was just thrilled to be a part of it, and it's a great show. I wish it didn't end, but I'm so glad they have the spin-off, so that's exciting.
I know. We're going to talk about the spin-off in just a few moments, but you just mentioned that you were a child advocate on the show. I believe it was for Tariq's character once he was arrested. But personally, do you have any children?
Do I have children?
Yes.
No, I don't. I have a niece and nephew that live in California. Mm-hmm. So I kind of live vicariously through them. But no, I don't have children. You have children, is that right? You have a daughter?
Look at you. Look at you researching me. I'm supposed to research you, Samantha. Yes, I do have a daughter. She is 24. She will be 25 in 2.5 weeks, which I can't believe.
Oh, that's wonderful.
I know. But, I know that can be a very sensitive question, especially for women. Asking women, do you have children? So I'm going to ask you, when people ask you, do you want children, do you find that offensive?
No, I don't. I find that actually people get offended when I say that maybe I don't want to have children, though. I think they get offended by that.
Okay. I definitely understand that. 'Cause just talking about the questions that people ask women. And another question that people ask is, are you married? Do you want to get married? Especially if you're a woman of a certain age and they see that you're single, they automatically think that something's wrong with you. So are you in a relationship and are you married?
Yes, I am very happily married. I recently
didn't know that.
was married in June. Yes, I'm so happy. I recommend it to everyone. Well, not everyone, but
And you get a husband. You get a husband. Wait, so you just got married in June?
Yes.
Wow. How long did you know him for before you got married?
About 6 years.
See, that's what I'm talking about. You get to know your partner before you get married. Nowadays, It's like the microwave age. People are falling in love, getting engaged, and getting married in 7 days. And I think it's so quick. So were you ready to get married after 6 years, or did he kind of have to say, listen, Sam, let's do this?
I'm sorry, what was the last part of that?
I said, were you ready to get married after 6 years?
Oh my gosh, I was terrified. I was so terrified.
Wow.
I didn't feel like I was ready, but we just did it. We went down to City Hall. We just got it done. And ever since then, it's like I feel so much better about it. It was the right decision. Sometimes you just got to, I've heard that one secret to happiness is just make a decision. Don't just agonize over it forever. Just make a decision. So we did it, and I just could not be happier. It's really good.
That's the first time I've ever heard that, Sam. The secret to making any relationship or marriage work is to just make a decision. People are always talking about communication, but I never heard it that way. Just make a decision. I'm going to use that. Just make a decision. So you also mentioned that you went to City Hall to get married. Why not have a big wedding? Even though I see nothing wrong with just going to City Hall, why not the big wedding?
Well, I think I'm a very practical person, so I just can't imagine just, spending so much money on a huge wedding. So that's one reason. The other reason is my family's in California, his family's in New Mexico, and he has family in Texas, and then we have friends in New York City. So we're like, what are we going to do? Are we going to do it? It was like such a complicated trying to decide how to do it. We actually took as long as most couples take to plan a huge wedding. Like that's how long it took us to just decide, okay, we're just going to go to City Hall because it's a mess. It's like we can't work out these logistics.
Right. Oh, well, nice. And congratulations, because you're still in the honeymoon phase.
Oh, thank you.
Honey, I was going to ask you another question, but I think I would cross a lot of boundaries. So I'm just going to leave that question alone. But, even though the show Power on Stars has ended, 50 Cent decided to add you to his new show For Life on ABC. Now, I know that we are already 3 episodes in, and I believe that you're going to be on episode 10, I believe. Is that correct?
Oh, I can't really. I couldn't hear.
You still can't hear me, Samantha?
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. It sounds like you're down a dark hallway, like a long hallway. And
we don't want that. That sounds like the next Candyman movie. We don't want to be down any dark hallways or anything like that. I apologize. For the sound. I was asking about you being on 50 Cent's new show For Life on ABC. Can you hear me?
Oh, yes. You're asking about For Life.
Yes. So we've already seen 3 episodes. Which episode will you appear in?
I believe it's episode 10 on April 7th, I think, is when it's going to air, I think.
Okay, so just tell us about your character.
So I play a reporter on that episode, and I don't think I'm allowed to really say much more than that because I have an NDA thing they make you sign. It's really scary, so I really don't want to.
You can't play around with 50 Cent because he will put you on blast on everything, so I definitely understand. But I'm assuming that you've already filmed the episode. Is that correct?
What was that?
Did you film the episode already?
Yes, I filmed it already. I had the time of my life filming on that set. It was so much fun. The PAs were really cool, and I loved working with the other actors. And it started like pouring rain at one point, and there were all these like background extras, and anyway, I can't say about the scene, but it was so much fun and so cool. There was a helicopter Oh my God, it's so fun.
Nice.
So fun.
Nice. Now, did you get a chance to meet 50 Cent?
What's that?
Did you get a chance to meet 50 Cent?
No.
Oh.
Everyone was asking me that, and I said no. I would have loved to have met him. He's so cool, but no, I didn't.
Okay, that's perfectly fine. But speaking of people that you've met or haven't met, are there any actresses, living or deceased, that you look up to?
Who I look up to?
Yeah.
Okay, I love Steve Carell.
Really?
Oh my gosh, I love Steve Carell so much.
He's
I
funny.
think he's brilliant.
Yeah, he's funny. He's cool. He's cool.
He's so
So
self-deprecating.
what about him do you respect and admire? Because that's odd for me, because you chose a male actress and you're a female. But I'm not hating on, the cross-genderism. But what about him do you respect and admire?
Someone who I respect and admire. Well, of course, Meryl Streep, of course.
She's another dope actress. But what about them do you admire specifically? What about them?
Oh, about Meryl Streep?
Yeah, what about her do you admire?
Okay. So I have heard that every take she does it completely differently.
Oh.
And to me, that's just like, that totally blows me away, because she's not worried about doing it right, about getting it right. She's just giving them as many different options to work with in the editing room, like saying one line this way and then they can edit the other take this way. And it's just like, that's why her performance is so amazing, because they have so many different things to pick from.
So knowing that you admire and respect that about her, do you try to do that when you are acting? Do you just try to do it different each and every single time?
Sanya, I wish I was there, but that's why I admire that so much, is because I feel like a lot of the time in my work, I'm just trying to get one right, which is such a mistake. I'm like, oh, I didn't really do it right. I didn't say it right that one take.
Right.
The next one, I'm really going to do it right this next time. And that's why I respect her so much, because she doesn't worry about, because she's Meryl Streep, I guess. She doesn't worry about doing a bad one. She's just like, I think that's amazing.
Yeah, that is amazing.
Everyone is great.
That's amazing. You're giving us a lot of jewels, Sam. I just want to make sure you're not on speakerphone, are you?
Nope.
Okay, great. Yeah, because we're just still trying to figure out, some of the technical sound issues. But now that I know that you're not on speakerphone, that's perfectly fine. What I loved and respected about your journey and your growth as a working actress is that you are a classically trained actress and you are a self-proclaimed theater geek. Now, we don't find that too often. We find people creating these short stories and video clips on Instagram, and they're getting a lot of notoriety. But I respect the culture when people train to be where they are. So at what age did you decide that you wanted to become an actress?
Oh, I heard a lot of that, but I didn't hear the end question.
Oh, wow.
So I'm sorry, Sanya. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. No need to apologize, Samantha. At what age did you decide that you wanted to become an actress?
Oh, okay. So I discovered that I loved acting in high school when the first time I did a monologue on stage. But ever since then, I was in denial about it, because it's such a ridiculous thing to want to do with your life. It's not a stable career. A lot of actors don't make money.
Yeah.
And you're basically like a starving artist, resigning yourself to a life of not having stability.
Yeah.
And so I was in denial, and then I guess finally I just decided that I would go to grad school because then I could be a teacher. So if it doesn't work out, then I could teach acting.
Yeah.
So I did that, and then at the end of that, I was like, well, I guess I just have to do it. So
wow.
I've sort of been in denial about it. Trying to find a more practical career. For a while, I was like, should I go to law school or whatever?
Wow. So did a lot of, because I understand that frustration, because I also went to a performing arts high school, and it was in my senior year, I realized, let's say if I break a leg, I will never be able to make the money that I want. So I decided to really listen to my parents and pursue a degree in psychology and went into education. So did your parents also pursue or encourage you to pursue a more practical career outside of acting?
They did. My father always wanted me to be a lawyer. That's why I was like thinking of going to law school, because I always would watch Law and Order when I was like younger, and he's like, "Oh, you're watching it because you want to be a lawyer?" But no, I was watching it because I want to be on that show so bad.
I love that show, by the way. I love. Yeah, that show is amazing. I could definitely see you on that show. You know, and I'm glad that you spoke it into existence. So we're going to claim that you are going to be on an episode of Law and Order, specifically SVU. That's my show right there, SVU.
Oh my gosh, I would love to.
Yeah.
I'd like to be a victim on that show, like so bad.
It's going to happen.
Or like the victim that turns out to be the perp. The evil one. I would just want to be that so bad.
You have a creative imagination, Sam. I can tell. You're talking about, you know, being the victim or the perk. You just described a new movie, Candyman, where I was walking down a dark hallway. You're a very creative mind, Sam, so I can appreciate that. And I know that you had to be very creative because you were born in California and now you're living in New York City. That's very creative. Now, what have you had to deal with in New York City that you have never had to deal with out in California?
Wait, I'm sorry. Could you say that one more time? I almost got it, but not quite.
No problem. I said you moved from California to New York City, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So living here in New York City, what's the biggest challenge you had to face that you would have never had to face in California?
A challenging activity?
Yeah, any activity, obstacle, anything that you had to face here that you would have never had to face in California.
Oh my gosh. I can't even really think about that. I know when I first moved here, I was so scared to be on the subway. I thought people were going to come rob me like right away. Like as soon as I got on the subway, I thought people were going to rob me right away.
Well, that's a true thing. That's a true thing.
But anyway, that was ridiculous. So, let's see. I don't know. I can't really think about
That's it right there. That's all. Being on the subway. That's a real thing, Samantha.
Although, you know what, Sanya, I've heard that the BART in San Francisco, which I'm from the East Bay, San Francisco Bay Area, is now like really dangerous. And then now I hear stories like that about the BART train in San Francisco that you used to hear about the New York subway. Like you hear that like people will come and like rob you on the subway, and you can't be on the subway late at night, or the BART train, I mean.
Yeah.
So now it's like, oh, well, now it's like more dangerous and on the BART train than it is on the New York
Well, don't
subway.
get too comfortable, Sam, okay? It's still real out in these streets, okay? Just so you know. But something that's also real and resonated with me, and I was like, it melted my heart. I was watching a few of your posts on social media, and you had on a Wonder Woman shirt, and she is one of my all-time heroes. Do you have an inner Wonder Woman?
Yes, I do. I love Wonder Woman too. I think she's really cool. Like, I guess role model, you know, for women. And I love the movies that came out and everything.
I know. So, which one of Wonder Woman's powers, if you could get, that you would like to receive? Which one of her powers? I want that lasso. I want the lasso. You know how she took the gold lasso off of her side and she kind of whipped people into shape? I want the lasso. What do you want?
That's awesome. You know, I would just have to say her strength and just general badassery, because I know that's not a superpower, but like she's so strong and like, I don't know, like I wish I could go to the gym and get as strong as she is, you know, because you could actually do that, but I don't know if I will. But yeah, I just think, you know, that she's like really strong and everything. That would be what I would want.
Yeah. Speaking of strong, one thing that was strong recently was the conversation talking about the Oscars. Did you get a chance to watch the Oscars this year?
You know, I didn't. I don't usually watch those shows. I know I'm bad. I know I should, but I can't watch them. But what was the conversation about the Oscars?
Oscars so white. basically, my personal reason for never watching the Oscars is because I don't think that it is diverse enough to include the appreciation and the acknowledgement of black and brown actors and actresses. That's my reason for not watching. So
I see.
Dealing with that and asking you, because you're an actress, how do you feel about the conversation and narrative many black actors and actresses are having that they're not being included? Do you understand what they're saying?
Yeah, I think that they should be. There's a lot of African American actors that aren't being included in the awards, and I think it's really bad, and I think it's good that there's more awareness towards that now, because I think people are going to start including, them more often, as they should get the recognition that they deserve.
Yeah.
I was listening to this YouTube about, they hired a British actress to play Harriet Harriet Tubman in that movie Harriet.
Mm-hmm.
There was a big backlash against her because, well, not just against her, but that they didn't hire an African American actress for that role.
Yeah.
And I think she had even said some disparaging things about African Americans. I'm not sure if that's true. I don't want to say anything that's not true, but I'm just curious about what your thoughts are about that, hiring other, not African Americans, but other black actors to play African American parts. What do you think about that?
Well, I will say it this way. In the 90s, there was a comedic television show called In Living Color, and there were two men who reviewed television and films, and they summed it up in two words, which I will do now. Hated it. I can't stand it, Samantha. But this has been happening for so long, where you have a role that the person is supposed to be black, but the characters or the actresses that are hired are white. So I have a real personal problem with this. So this is why I asked you this question, because as a white actress, I just want to know what your responsibility is as a white actress to push this conversation narrative forward so that this is no longer a conversation for black and brown people. So what are you doing as a white actress to support black and brown actresses?
What do I do? Well, I mean, I don't want to say, what do I do personally?
Mm-hmm.
Well, as a group, I'm not sure that I do anything to support black and brown actors. I guess it's something that hasn't, occurred to me. I have friends, individual friends that are African-American actors, like my accountability partner is, right. And so we help each other, a lot, but that's not because she's African American. That's right. Just because we're buddies, and and I have another producing partner that we're trying to write a web series together. Right. That he's an African American actor, but I don't support him because he's African American. I just do that because we're buddies and because he's really talented, and also my other friend, she's really talented. I want to help them as much as I can. So what do I do to help?
And and I'm glad that you are pausing with this question, because this is what my ask is of you. Just to us outside of the friendships, I want this to be a real relationship between all actors, black, brown, white, where it is a circle of support where people are actually doing things to support one another and not just saying, oh, well, my producer or my acting coach was white. I think this is why we're still in the same space, because it's too much of the friendship leading the conversation and not enough of the work that leads this conversation. So I'm going to challenge you to actually do something to change that narrative. Are you okay with that?
I would be really interested to know what, yes, I would love to. I would love some suggestions on what I might do.
Mm-hmm. Maybe talking to a casting agent when you see a whole bunch of white faces in the room, just asking a simple question. Is there a plan to be more diverse with the cast? Just sparking the questions and food for thought, that might be a great starting point, because you're in the room. So I think that you have a responsibility to kind of change the tone of the room.
Wow, I'd love that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. But you,
I love that.
and I appreciate that you were receptive of it, Samantha. I really do, because I know that was it could have been uncomfortable for some people.
Well, I think it's good to like be discussing these things and talking about these things and just bringing awareness to the issue, because I think right now is like really the time.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like society is very open to this.
Yes,
Like now is the time for this.
It's the time, Samantha. But you know, I'm trying to find time to add something else to my television repertoire. And like I said at the onset of this conversation, that you can be currently seen on NBC's Lincoln Rhyme. I know nothing about that show at all. There's so much television to watch. You can also go on various streaming platforms and also watch television shows and films. So can you just tell me, what is NBC's Lincoln Rhyme about?
What is what? I'm sorry, what is what?
NBC's Lincoln Rhyme. What is that show about?
I'm sorry, I can't understand the name of the show that you're saying.
Aren't you on the show NBC, Lincoln Rhyme?
Oh, Lincoln Rhyme, yes.
Yes, you're only on the show.
Okay.
What is that about?
Okay, so it's about, let me see, it's about like this. Okay, so there's a retired forensic criminologist who teams up with this young detective played by Ariel Kibo, and then they team up. He becomes paralyzed, and so she's his like eyes and ears and legs to help solve all these really dangerous criminals, to catch a lot of dangerous criminals and crimes. The main one is the bone collector that they're trying to catch.
Oh, okay. So everything kind of, is aligned. Everything that you're currently doing, I'm seeing the creativity. I'm seeing the suspense. I'm seeing the advocacy. So you have a very good, I would say, acting resume so far. So we are definitely going to continue watching you. Thank you for giving us an amazing performance on the final episode of Power on Stars. I definitely caught you on HBO's The Deuce, and I will try my best to watch you on Lincoln Rhyme. So just one final question. How can my viewers and listeners follow you on Instagram?
Oh, I'm on Instagram as Samantha Rivers Cole.
Okay. Well, Samantha
Rivers Cole.
Samantha, you go ahead and you kill your audition. And like we both agreed to, we are going to do by challenging the space to include more diversity. Thank you so much, Samantha, and I'll talk with you soon.
Thank you so much for having me on the show, Sanya. I'm a big fan. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye.
There you have it. Samantha Rivers Cole. I do believe, once again, I'm really going to challenge every single guest that comes on this show. I told you I had to have an uncomfortable conversation recently with a celebrity publicist because I was like, God damn it, your client was boring during the interview. They need to go through more media training. So if we are supporting these entertainment celebrities, I believe that we should always hold them up to be the very, very best. And also kind of cultivate the conversation and cultivate the space. Don't just be viewers and listeners to this entire culture. Be an active participant. This is what I'm challenging everyone to do. So we do have to close out this show. Another great show. But like I said, I do have a new segment that I was launching today, Celebrity Chronicles. So this Celebrity Chronicle, now this is a disclaimer, the views and opinions submitted may not be the views of Sanya on air. So this is what someone submitted to me. Dear Sanya, my name is Raina, but my friends call me Rara. No comment. Okay. I'm from Harlem, and a few years ago, I lived across the street from Black Ink on 113th. If I ever had to walk to the train station, it meant I had to walk by Black Ink and let me just say, thirsty. I mean, did they ever work? They were always partying and looking for pretty girls to come inside and party with them. When pretty girls walked by, all you heard were guys begging them to come inside for a drink. Damn it. Isn't Black Ink supposed to be a tattoo parlor? Why weren't they asking pretty girls to get tatted and post on their IG page? Talk about unprofessional and ghetto. It got to the point where I would walk the long way just to avoid the typical catcalling that went out in the 90s. But I guess they didn't get the memo. Thank you so much, Raina, aka Rara, from Harlem, for submitting the first letter for the new segment, Celebrity Chronicles. Now, if you want to have your letter read on Sanya on Air's Celebrity Chronicles, do me a favor. All you have to do is type it up and send it to me via email at sanyaonair@gmail.com. And while you do that, be sure to subscribe to Sanya on Air's streaming platforms on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, and YouTube Radio. And although I'm still in Instagram jail, you can still follow me because I'll be out. I'll be paroled on March 2nd, and damn it, I'm coming back. Thank you so much for tuning in to another amazing edition of Sanya on Air, where I connect the big OGs to the little OGs. Thank you so much for tuning in. Smooches loves. Bye-bye.